About our honorees. Jerome Foster II, President's Award for Climate Justice. Jerome is a 20-year-old climate justice activist and consultant who strives to create social and environmental change through art, technology, and policy. He studied environmental governance and policy, social justice, and computer science. He is currently co-curating an exhibition at the Smithsonian National Museum of Asian Art. He's the youngest ever White House Environmental Justice Advisory Council member, advising President Biden and developing policies on climate change and environmental justice.
So I joined as a White House Environmental Justice Advisory Council member in 2021 when I was 18 years old. And it came from the movement of young people that striked in the streets that we demanded a seat at the table for us to help create climate policy at the national level.
At the age of 14, he coded an immersive technology organization, Tau VR, and won third place at the World Series of Entrepreneurship.
I created a virtuality environment where it showed a 5-year-old migrant traveling from Guatemala to southern Texas, and it told it in a first-person narrative that showed how immigration is intersecting with environmental justice and also racism, and all those things combining in a way that makes solutions to climate change much more holistic.
Jerome gained international recognition when he was 16 years old. He was one of the major organizers of Friday for Future, holding climate strikes at the front gates of the White House. This was part of Greta Thunberg's Fridays for Future movement to advocate for the Climate Change Education Act.
It was really exciting to see so many young people that were posting and tweeting about the march really turn to physical numbers. That energy that continued to go on for another 86 weeks of us continuing to go out every single Friday. All across the world they heard our call, and now at the United Nations and at COP26 and at COP27 and COP28, we were at the conversation and we're continuing to be at the conversation.
He was interviewed by former Vice President Al Gore and has spoken at the United Nations High Commission on Human Rights and the United Nations Youth Climate Summit. When he was 18 years old, the White House announced that Jerome would serve as an advisor on the White House Environmental Justice Advisory Council. Jerome founded 1 Million of Us, an international nonprofit organization aimed to educate and empower young people to be civically active on the local and global stage. The organization created a uniting youth coalition representing gun violence, climate change, immigration reform, gender equality, and racial equality.
Politics is a way to utilize the energy that we're seeing in the streets to kind of make it actually a policy and law. Because if we're only just continuing to yell with no one listening, then it feels hopeless.
Jerome is the co-founder of Wake Up. His goal in the near future is to get 1 million young people to vote.
I lead an organization called 1 Million of Us, now known as Wake Up, where it's worked to mobilize a mass movement from the climate strikes in the streets to the voting booth in the polls to show that young people can be a powerful political force.
Jerome recognizes the outrage, anxiety, and optimism of his generation and the challenges they have to make big changes.
I think that's what drives me, is that we have the possibility, and I think that if we just keep pushing, then climate change is that critical kind of issue in which it allows the opportunity to rethink how we operate as a society in a sense.
Jerome is driven by the promise of a world which lives by the ideals of economic, social, and environmental reciprocity and equity.
I saw young people have a power. We have a energy that when we walk in a room, we have a sense of moral clarity. We're representatives of the future, and if we don't act now, then what will your future be saying? What will your grandchildren be saying to you? Because you had the opportunity, but you chose inaction and you chose a continuation of the status quo.